Here's a shout out to Guido, who raised so many thought-provoking questions in his last couple of posts, so rather than write down a ton of responses, I thought I'd compose my own post. The music playing in the background, FYI, is Cyril Tawney singing Diesel and Shale, which is in fact a Submariner's song, which is quite appropriate considering if my dad was still with us, he'd be 87 this year. So I'm going to hoist this freshly brewed cup of coffee in memory of my dad. He was a commander and a nuclear submarine engineer in the Royal Navy, and as I say, he would be 87. Sadly, he passed away a couple of years ago, but he's been an avid computer gamer since 1982. He's joined me in many online games like Ultima Online, Star Wars Galaxies, Star Wars The Old Republic, Guild Wars, and EVE Online. He started playing World of Tanks actually at 80, and he played on the EU server for a bit, but when he came over to visit, I created a second North America account, appropriately called Sunkmariner. So he could play here with relatively low latency and platoon up with me. So we actually played quite a few games while he was over here. I think I've got close to 1,000 games with Dad. And so he'd visited California quite a few years before he passed away. And he had quite a career. To say he was building nuclear submarines at the end. He joined as an artificer's apprentice. And as I say, he worked his way up through the ranks and retired as a commander. I think that was in 1988. So then the rest of the time he went off to an engineering firm building submarines, of all things. So anyhow, here we are. This is just sort of playing in the background because really what I wanted to go over was some of the issues that you brought up. But this is just a quick heads up. This is actually, I completed his T34 grind and researched the MT25 light tank. So every module on the tank is stock. The crew training is pretty much green, other than I boosted a couple of transfer crew, giving there was a gold sale on, a crew discount for training for 50% off. So I have my coffee, I have my thoughts together, and so now we can enjoy a virtual dad, or Sunkmariner's first foray in his stock MT25 on airfield with a fairly green crew. So a few things of note. My gun can't penetrate much of the enemy tanks, even with the premium ammo. And since this tank does carry plenty of ammo, I just loaded up a bunch of HE, hoping for some lucky tracking shots or at the very least a distracted player. I take a detour back to our arty area when an enemy chaffee is prowling around back there. Luckily I'm also back in time to catch out a would-be enemy capper in an M4 and take him out too. So late in the game there's a lot of armchair generally, hunt the arty advice when I'm trying to hang out behind a rock and not get killed. But not particularly useful comments from dead teammates who seem to be speculating on outcomes of my miserable stats. So with two high view range leaf blowers on the enemy team locking me down behind a rock, I'm just going to place things safe. So I'll leave you to observe. So getting back to Guido's comments on team damage, I'm pretty sure I'm not a fan of it, but I certainly believe it should remain in the game. The challenge value added by ensuring players are tactical and circumspect while their shots far outweighs the incredibly infrequent times it actually gets abused. Artillery team damage is expected, and I can't believe that if an artillery player marks a fire zone and a friendly player waltzes in there, taking a stun will penalise the arty. It seems like this could be replacing one toxic grief tactic for another. I think possible solutions are team damage restricted to below tier 5 perhaps. That makes it a sort of a better beginner level player experience where accidental team damage and sort of seal clubber griefer temp account toxicity is much more likely. Secondly, I think team damage acceptance default may be an option. So what that would mean is that you actually have settings that say, I'm happy with team damage or I'm not happy with team damage. And at the start of the game, there's a majority vote. If most people say, I don't care about it, leave the team damage on. If a majority of players want no team damage, then the game is going to disable it. But it will decrease the XP, perhaps. So I think it might be a useful tool or method if they try that. Another thing is the Battle Buddy rewards or awards. I'm quite proud of the fact that I have one of the higher Battle Buddy award levels. I see players that have twice my number of games, yet half the number of BB awards. Those are clearly players to be wary of. If Wargaming take that team damage away, the BB awards themselves become pretty much irrelevant. Perhaps they should compensate by bonds and or gold for the current Battle Buddy awards that are in each person's account. Rolls, I think this is another facepalm moment. Totally absurd. I mean, an E25 TD, for example, or a Batchat 25T medium tank make some of the best scouts. An M3 Lee medium tank is really a tank destroyer. An AMX-40 or a Valentine II light tank are slow, armoured medium tanks. I can recall a number of times folks yelling in chat for me to get out there and spot in my Valentine II with a top speed of 32 kilometers an hour. A Tier 5 T14 heavy tank with 50 millimeters of hull armor is going to be played completely different than a Tier 5 KV220 with 120 millimeters. So even Arty comes in different role modes: splash versus no splash, the follow the Vanguard just over the hill Bishop or Sturmpanzer II versus the red line longshot Arties. I think some retention thoughts on the sort of 50k plus game veterans and how to engage the been there done it all players who have most if not all of the tanks unlocked. I'd propose Wargaming introduce a special ranked role for veteran players that achieves elite status in at least one tier 10 tank in each of the main countries, like Russia, Germany and US. So if they have one tier 10 tank that has got to elite, I think they should be automatically allowed to go into this special role that's going to be listed something along the lines of Drill Sergeant Platoon. And so this is going to be a special platoon leader role that provides unique ratings and other benefits such as ribbons, camo, and even unique tanks, and presumably some other special benefits for people who might be highly ranked in that area. So how could this work? I mean, perhaps those veterans get that special platooning missions, encouraging them to invite low win rate and or wargaming rates players and tracking improvements for those players over time for those who platoon with them. If you bake in some random platoon finder queuing system, supplies more variety and more rewards, and also sort of avoids having the sort of contrived newbie tank people. You have to have variety, perhaps force it to be not the same low-level players every single game or every single platoon game. Maybe make it random. So somebody in a, let's say, a tier 5 tank who's relatively new to the game says, I want to be on the drill sergeant platoon list, and they would get picked up by some of these elite players. And I think part of the enjoyment for a lot of players in this game, especially once you've played it for a while, is showing other people how to play and improving their play style, because ultimately they're going to be better on your team and they're going to be better on the enemy team. So it's a win-win. So that's my thought, and with that I will let you watch the rest of the game. So here we are, back behind the rock. No sixth sense, no particularly good penetrating values on my ammo, and we've now got our friendly TD who's rushing in, attempting to take out the enemy tank here and failing. So I am attempting to get this T-34 at least out of the game. I managed to track him. I'm hiding behind the rock again and taking lots of leaf blower shots there. So I'm just waiting a little bit longer because, yep, sure enough, another one comes in. And again, remembering the sort of the long view range that those tanks have, I think it was wise to sort of lurk there. So we're going to go back and try to get out of any spotting range, because I think there's at least a couple in the middle there that are I'm within their view range. So I'm going to get out of dodge, swing around, and then I'm presuming that they're going to be coming into the base. So yeah, we get a few comments again saying, "What's he doing?" I'm actually going to try and spot, so we're going to make our way over slowly. Our leaf blower player seems to be quite competent. He's doing sterling work here. So I'm going to first of all just park up at this little bush here just to see if anything's inbound. Like I say, I think I'm probably a one shot to a direct hit, so I'm going to be very careful here. Now we're going to see some of my spectacular driving skills coming up here as I whiz down and nearly flip myself. No, I did flip myself. No, I didn't flip myself. So yeah, that was a little uncomfortable. But anyway, we survived that, which is a good thing. So I'm just sort of typing a little humour into the commentary there. Anyway, as we head up here, all of a sudden, we've got one of the leaf blowers shows up, and the SU. So we've got two inbound arty. I think I've got time to take a couple of shots, and I better get out of here. Yep, he does a snapshot and misses, thankfully, and our leaf blower takes the leaf blower out. Now there's this guy, I don't want him shooting me on the run, so I'm just going to keep swinging around. And we get a shot in on him, and he's down to just a whisper of health, and again our leaf blower takes him out. So pretty much that's it. I mean, there's one leaf blower left on the enemy team, and I'm going to head over to either spot him or to cap. So I'm pretty confident if I can spot him, even if he kills me, I think our leaf blower is going to get him. If I can at least track him or circle strafe him, I'll be in a good position. Anyway, so we're not exactly sure where he is, so I'm keeping to this side of the map because this shot seemed to be coming in from sort of the middle of the map, not here. So take a pretty circuitous route around the outside, get into the cap circle, and that building looks pretty convenient, so we'll park up behind there and see what happens. It's probably again, bottom tier, one shot light tank. It's probably not a bad idea. Actually, I'm top tier. What am I saying? Bottom tier. I'm top tier, tier 6. Big whoop. But pretty green crew and pretty minimal protection. So anyway, I'm just going to lurk here and see what happens. That shot did seem to come in from the middle of the map, so I think I know where the leaf blower is going to come from. He's probably going to come from my right. Could come round the back, but I doubt it. And yeah, this is the boring part of the game. Anyway, as I say, I was pretty happy to get a pretty impressive score for my first ever game in this tank. In fact, I don't even have this tank unlocked in my regular account, so I should probably go and do that sometime soon. I did mostly the German lines, I think, on my main account, which means I have wonderful things like the Leopard prototype. So I have other problems to deal with. And so yeah, that's pretty much the game. And I think any second now we're going to have a... Yep, I see a tree come down. And he's getting close to the circle. Yep, another tree down, and there he goes, and we've won the game. So, unfortunately, our leaf blower's shot didn't quite come in to finish him off. So close, but I'll take it. So there we have it. There's the endgame cap with a victory, second class, and a couple of medals, fire for effect, and we got an invader base capture medal and a bond. And that's a pretty decent outcome for a first game in this tank. And yep, you can see the crew is pretty green. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed this, and Guido, thanks again for the great thought-provoking discussion, and hope you like the response. Cheers.